Okay, so this research paper you sent over on Marco 1, it really got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
What if AI could move beyond just, like finding the answer?
hmm
What if it could actually tackle those messy real world problems where there isn't always a clear best solution?
Right, like the best solution isn't always so clear cut.
Exactly. And it seems like that's what the researchers at Alibaba are doing with this model.
Yeah, it is a fascinating area of research, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We've seen AI excel at tasks with defined rules and a single correct answer.
Right, like a math equation or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Marco 1 is designed to navigate those gray areas, the
Yeah.
problems where multiple solutions might be viable, with each having its own trade-offs.
And it's not just about the what, it's about the how, right?
Yeah,
They're trying to teach this model to think more like we do.
exactly. One of the key techniques they're using is called chain of thought,
Okay.
or COT for short.
Got it.
Essentially, they're training Marco 1 to think step by step,
Okay.
laying out its reasoning process, kind of like you would in a logical argument.
So instead of just spitting out an answer,
Yeah,
it's showing its work, so to speak.
precisely. And it's not just about explaining his logic, it's about exploring different possibilities.
I like that.
That's where Monte Carlo tree search comes in.
Monte Carlo tree search.
Yeah, or MCTS.
Okay, break that down for me. What's so special about this MCTS?
Well, imagine the AI brainstorming different paths to a solution.
Okay.
MCTS allows Marco 1 to explore these various options and evaluate each step based on its confidence level.
Huh.
It's like the model is weighing the pros and cons of each path before deciding which one to pursue.
So it's not just blindly following a single set of instructions.
Right.
It's actually making judgments about the best way forward.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really intriguing is that the researchers added a reflection mechanism to this process.
Reflection, like it's looking back at its own work.
Yes. Essentially, it prompts Marco 1 to double-check its steps to see if there are any potential errors or missed opportunities.
Wow.
This adds a whole other layer of self-assessment to the AI's reasoning process.
No, that's what I call metacognition.
Right.
But how does all of this fancy training actually translate into real-world performance?
Yeah.
Is Marco 1 actually showing promise?
The early results are actually quite encouraging.
Okay.
In tests involving logic puzzles, Marco 1 has shown it can not only solve them, but explain its reasoning in a way that's understandable to humans.
So it's not just a black box spitting out answers. It's
Yeah.
actually demonstrating an ability to think things through.
Exactly.
Are there any specific examples that illustrate this?
Absolutely. One anecdote that really highlights the model's reasoning capabilities involves a question about the word strawberry.
Strawberry, okay.
Marco 1 was asked to count the number of R's in the word.
Sounds straightforward enough. What happened?
Well, Marco 1 correctly identified the 3 R's in the word.
Okay.
However, it omitted any mention of the final Y.
It just left it out.
Yeah.
But the Y is right there.
Right. But the researchers believe this omission wasn't a mistake,
Okay.
but rather a sign of the model's confidence in its reasoning.
Interesting.
It's almost as if Marco 1 considered counting the Y to be so obvious
Yeah.
that it didn't need to explicitly state it.
So it's like the model developed its own shortcut,
Uh-huh.
a way of streamlining its thinking process based on its confidence level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It raises some fascinating questions about how AI models might develop their own unique reasoning strategies,
Wow.
potentially even surpassing human approaches in certain scenarios.
Now that's where it gets really interesting.
Right.
We're not just talking about teaching AI to solve problems, we're talking about potentially unlocking new ways of thinking altogether.
Yeah,
That's pretty profound when you think about it.
it is. But Marco 1's capabilities extend beyond just logic puzzles. The model has also shown a remarkable ability to handle the nuances of language,
Really?
especially when it comes to translation.
Oh, wow. Now that's something I think we can all relate to. We've all had those moments where a phrase gets lost in translation, especially with online tools.
For sure.
Tell me more about how Marco 01 tackles this challenge.
Well, think about it, slang and colloquialisms.
Right.
They often rely on shared cultural understanding and context.
Right.
Traditional translation tools often struggle to capture that nuanced meaning.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me I've seen some pretty hilarious and sometimes cringeworthy mistranslations in my day.
Right. But what's interesting is that Marco 1 seems to excel in these situations. It doesn't just translate words literally. It tries to understand the intent and feeling behind them.
So instead of just substituting words,
Yeah.
it's trying to get at the heart of what's being said.
Exactly.
Can you give us an example of how that works in practice?
Absolutely. One example that stood out to me involves a Chinese expression that literally translates to, "This shoe offers a stepping on poop sensation."
Okay, that sounds unpleasant. I'm guessing that's not what the speaker intended to convey.
Not quite. While a literal translation might be confusing or even offensive, Marco 1 correctly interpreted the expression as, "This shoe has a comfortable sole."
Wow. So it was able to understand the cultural context and deliver a translation that actually makes sense in English.
Precisely. It demonstrates the model's ability to grasp not just the words themselves, but the underlying meaning and intention.
That's really cool.
There's another example where a Chinese speaker describes a dress as super straight and doesn't curl.
I'm already cringing thinking about how a literal translation might come across.
Right. But Google Translate renders this phrase quite literally.
Oh, no.
Marco 1.1 understands the slang and translates it as "doesn't wrinkle."
That's remarkable. It's like the model has a sense of how people actually use language, not just how dictionaries define it.
Exactly. And this has huge implications for the future of communication.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where AI can help us bridge cultural and linguistic divides,
Right.
allowing for deeper understanding and collaboration across borders.
It's like having a personal interpreter who not only understands the words,
Yeah.
but also the cultural context. It could revolutionize the way we interact with each other on a global scale.
Absolutely.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Is Marco 1 perfect? Are there still areas where the researchers are working to improve its performance?
Of course, Marco 1 is still under development, and the research team is constantly exploring ways to refine its capabilities. One key area they're focusing on is improving the model's reward system.
Okay, remind us what that means.
So remember how we discussed the Monte Carlo tree search, where the model explores various solution paths?
Mm-hmm.
The reward system helps the AI evaluate the quality of those paths and choose the most promising one.
Gotcha.
The researchers are working to fine-tune this evaluation process so that Marco 1 can make even more nuanced and accurate decisions.
So it's about refining its judgment,
Yeah.
helping it distinguish between a good solution and a truly great one.
Precisely. And this work on Marco 1's reward system is just one small piece of a much larger puzzle. When you step back and look at the big picture, this research represents a fundamental shift in how we think about artificial intelligence.
What do you mean?
For a long time, AI research has focused on developing systems that can follow instructions, process information, solve well-defined problems.
Right.
But with models like Marco 1, we're entering a new era where AI is beginning to exhibit more human-like cognitive abilities.
So it's not just about giving AI more data or processing power. It's about teaching it to think more like we do.
Exactly. We're
Yeah.
starting to see AI that can reason, strategize, make judgments, and even adapt to new situations.
That's both exciting and a little bit daunting, wouldn't you say? I mean, what does it mean for us when machines start to think more like humans?
It certainly raises a lot of questions about the future of work, the nature of intelligence, and even the very definition of what it means to be human.
Those are big questions.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world of possibilities, and it's fascinating to see how researchers are pushing the boundaries of what AI can achieve.
It is.
But with all this talk about Marco 1's impressive capabilities, it's important to remember that this research is still in its early stages.
You're absolutely right. Marco 1 is just one example of a new generation of AI models that are being developed to tackle open-ended problems. There's still a lot we don't know about how these models learn, reason, and make decisions.
So while it's exciting to speculate about the future, it's also important to approach these developments with a healthy dose of caution and critical thinking. After all, the future of AI is something that we're all shaping together. But what does all of this mean for the average person? How might this technology impact our lives in the years to come?
It's mind-boggling to think about, really.
I know, right?
Here we are talking about AI that can not only solve problems, but reason, strategize, and potentially even think creatively.
What does that even mean for us?
Well, if for starters, it could change the way we work. Imagine having an AI assistant that can help you brainstorm ideas, analyze complex data, or even write reports.
Okay.
It could free up our time to focus on more strategic and creative tasks.
It's like having a super-powered thought partner.
Yeah.
Someone who can help you see problems from new angles and come up with more innovative solutions.
Exactly. And it's not just about work AI. Marco 1 could also revolutionize education, healthcare, and even entertainment.
Like how?
Imagine personalized learning experiences tailored to your individual needs and interests. Or AI-powered diagnostic tools that can help doctors detect diseases earlier and more accurately.
The possibilities really are endless. It makes you wonder, though, how do we even prepare for a future where AI plays such a prominent role?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
As AI systems become more sophisticated, We need to think carefully about the ethical implications and potential risks.
Yeah, for sure.
How do we ensure that these systems are used responsibly and for the benefit of humanity?
Right, or like how do we prevent biases from creeping into their decision-making processes?
Exactly. These are really big questions, and there are no easy answers.
I agree.
But I think the first step is to have open and honest conversations about these issues,
That's a good point.
to engage with the research, to ask tough questions, and to demand transparency from the companies and institutions developing these technologies.
You're absolutely right. We need to be informed and engaged citizens shaping the future of AI rather than simply being shaped by it.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the heart of why we do this deep dive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To explore these complex topics, to understand the potential and the challenges, and to empower you, our listeners, to navigate this rapidly evolving world.
It's a journey we're all on together.
Mm.
And while the destination might be uncertain, one thing is for sure.
What's that?
It's going to be fascinating.
So there you have it. Marco 1 is just one small example of the incredible advancements happening in the world of AI. It's a glimpse into a future where machines can not only solve problems, but also reason, strategize, and potentially even think creatively. And as we move forward, it's up to all of us to ensure that this technology is used responsibly and for the benefit of all humankind. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.